Hey everyone, welcome to the Theme Park Diary, an 8-episode series about everything and anything theme parks. I'm your host Haley, and today we'll be talking about some theme park history as well as some news that came out this past week. To preface, I have been obsessed with theme parks since I was a kid. They've always infatuated me. However, a fun fact about me is that I actually hate roller coasters and any sort of like super intense ride. I'm afraid of heights and just I don't really like how they feel. So I'm pretty sure I'm the only theme park enthusiast that hates roller coasters. So my opinions on rides and that sort of stuff might differ. However, I'm still infatuated with roller coasters and how they work and operate. So don't let that deter you. Disclaimer, any sort of pictures or videos that I use are not my own. They all come from either Instagram or a website, blog, and I will link those all down below. But let's get started with the history of theme parks. All of the theme park history I'm about to give you does come from theparkdatabase.com, and I will also link that down below. So, all theme parks, the origin of theme parks started as a park, a garden of some sort, in the late 1500s to all the way to the late 1800s. They have all been parks or originated from parks of some sort. Back in the day, of a pleasure park, as you would say, or a pleasure garden, they would go promenade, similar to how they did in Bridgerton, if you've ever seen that. They would watch live entertainment like music, dancing, and they would, sometimes there would be animals, like that sort of stuff, and that was like entertainment to them, and then everything has evolved from there. The rides didn't start becoming popular and didn't start really taking ground until the late 19th century. Balloon ascent started there, so like hot air balloons, and also the early form of a roller coaster called Russes Montagnes, Russian mountains. They were carriages that were they basically just wheeled down like a ramp or a mountain at high speeds, and that was fun to them. Personally, I would never, but that started before roller coasters came in, and then they innovated from there. After that, parks really started to fade out in the late 1800s, just because people's interests changed. They wanted to go travel, they wanted to go to the beach. Railroads started becoming very popular then, more of them were being built. So people were really steering away from the parks, and they wanted to go out and travel, see the beach, go somewhere new. Some of the oldest theme parks in America today actually started out as a garden and a place of entertainment, such as Cedar Point. It was established as a bathing resort and a beer garden, and people would go there and dance. There were steamboats. I mean, Cedar Point is on a peninsula, so it makes a lot of sense that people went there to see the water and do activities on the water. As well as Dorney Park. It started as a fish hatchery, and then it had picnics, and there were hotels and restaurants, and then rides were added at a later time. Modern amusement rides also didn't start appearing up until the late 1860s. The carousel was invented in the 1860s, and then electric roller coasters arrived later in around the 1880s. The first coaster opened at Cedar Point in 1892, and this really started to change the theme park space and like started more interesting rides. Traveling circuses like P.T. Barnum's Circus started peaking during this time as well as boardwalks and that sort of like walking entertainment. All of the Coney Island theme parks were also opening at around this time. So the amusement industry really started to ramp up at this time with new innovations. Countries were going to World's Fairs where they all got together and shared entertainment like innovations. And then the Great Depression and World War II happened, and people just weren't interested, either couldn't afford or just weren't interested in public amusements. The like inventions of TV started, more complex radio shows, that sort of thing really started to come about. So families just wanted to stay home. They didn't want to go outside and go to pay to ride per ride on a roller coaster or a carousel or any of that. And this really stayed that way up until 1955 when Walt Disney established Disneyland. As many of us know, Walt Disney had very big dreams. He did not enjoy the typical amusement park experience. He wanted something special, something magical. So he created Disneyland based off of his own studio's work, and it was very popular. And this really caused a resurgence in the amusement industry, and people started leaning towards more themed attractions rather than amusements. The difference between an amusement and a theme park is an amusement park, but themed around a central idea. Disney, for example, is based off of like Disney characters and like magic and wonder, and they all have themed lands like Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, that sort of thing. Similar to how Busch Gardens in Williamsburg is themed after Europe, and every land is a different European country. Disneyland had renowned success, and this really sparked the amusement industry again. As I said previously, Universal Studios changed from a more tour-based attraction to a full-fledged theme park in Hollywood, as well as Busch Gardens Tampa, previously owned by Anheuser-Busch, the beer company, opened in like 1950, late 1950s, with animals as well as amusements. And this really created a lot of buzz and a lot of interest in the industry, and it's really insanely evolved from then. I mean, most of these parks are still open, and it's just continuously being innovated and changed every single year. Another thing about Walt Disney is that he wanted more than a theme park. He wanted to create a land of tomorrow, a experimental prototype community of tomorrow, which is also known as Epcot. And before his death, him and his team went to Florida. They set their eyes on building land in Florida, but his team was like, hey, let's build another Disneyland in Florida. And that's exactly what they did. It opened past his death, and that was also widely successful. And then they created Epcot in the 80s, and it wasn't the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. It's what Epcot is today with World Showcase and Future World and all that stuff, but it still has hints of Disney. And this, like, Walt Disney pretty much changed the theme park industry to what we know it as today. And it's just astounding how one man's dream can like change the whole world and create something much more than just like silly little rides on a boardwalk, and just make a bunch of people happy, and has created such a booming industry. So let's get into some breaking theme park news. So my first bit of information came out a few days ago. Many people are surprised at this announcement, but Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio is opening a brand new roller coaster after Top Thrill 2 came out last year. I don't even know how many days it operated, but it wasn't very many. So it's kind of surprising that they're adding a new roller coaster so soon, especially after that whole fiasco, but they are. So let me give you some information on it. It is called Siren's Curse, and they're advertising it as the tallest, longest, fastest tilt coaster in North America. I'm not really sure if there is a tilt coaster in North America. I've never heard of a tilt coaster. I know there's some across the seas after doing some more research, but the legend and lore of mysterious creatures living beneath the surface of Lake Erie comes to life with Siren's Curse. And that's from their website. Basically explaining the lore of sirens in a lake, which I've never known that sirens lived in lakes. I thought that was an ocean thing, but I don't know. Sweet seductive songs will finally rise to the land above Cedar Point and attempt to entrap you in a sinister 2-minute fate of non-stop roller coaster innovation. Located across from Iron Dragon and near the Cedar Point Marina, Siren's Curse is set to lure its riders in 2025. This is coming directly from their website. Those are not my own words. The height on their website is listed as 160 feet, a speed of 58 miles per hour with a duration of 2 minutes. This thing looks crazy. Like, I don't like roller coasters, but this looks pretty intense. It tilts. It's almost like a drop coaster. Is it a drop coaster? You know, like Griffin and Shikra and Valraven, where it hangs you. It's like that, but on like steroids, which is terrifying. I'm a little bit nervous about like the operation of this, just because the fiasco with Top Thrill 2 last year. Hopefully this will be up and running. I'm pretty sure the manufacturer is Vekoma. It's not listed on their website. But this is definitely going to be a very interesting addition to Cedar Point. And I think it will do well. Cedar Point has all kinds of roller coasters, so what's problem in adding more crazy attractions? My next piece of news today is all about Busch Gardens Williamsburg new roller coaster. They finally announced it. We don't know what it's going to be named yet because you have to vote for it. I already put my vote in. I voted for Wolfstrain. I think it's the coolest name. The other names you can vote for are Geisterwolf, meaning Ghost Wolf, and Wolfstorm, meaning Wolfstorm. That is straight from their website. I just think Wolfstrain makes the most sense. If you do not know anything about this roller coaster, Busch Gardens has been alluding to a new attraction based on the previous well-loved roller coaster built by Aerodynamics that closed in 2009 named Big Bad Wolf. So it's really exciting to see that they're really honing in on what the fans at Busch Gardens want. Most of Busch Gardens Williamsburg attendees are locals and fans of the park just because of where it's located. It's my own home park. I love it. So it's great that they are paying this homage, especially when their 50th anniversary is coming up. I definitely think it's interesting because it's just different. This is going to be a family style inverted coaster, B&M, similar to what Busch Gardens Tampa got last year. I guess they haven't confirmed that it's a family style invert, but no, they have. They said all new family friendly inverted roller coaster. I just looked at my phone and saw that. They're saying it's going to be the longest family friendly invert, which I don't really know what that means. But it's basically going to be like a mini Alpengeist. Busch Gardens Tampa got a family style B&M invert last year. I cannot remember the name of it right now. I'll put it on the screen. But this is really exciting. I wish Busch Gardens would stray more away from the family coaster. I mean, we have plenty of them at Busch Gardens. We have Dark Coaster, we have Verbolten, we have Grover, and I'm sure some other roller coasters there could be argued as more family style. But they really need something bigger than Griffin and Apollo's Chariot. It's been a very long time since those coasters have been put in place, but hey, that's my own opinion. If you have been in the rumor mill for Busch Gardens Williamsburg the past like 10 years, let's be honest, there has always been rumors that there will be a roller coaster put back behind the Fest House in the Black Forest picnic area where Drachenfire used to be, and that was a roller coaster in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think it operated in the early 2000s, so I think it was just standing there. Did not last very long. But finally they're putting a roller coaster back there. There has been so many rumors what type of coaster it's going to be. It's gone from a giant giga coaster to now a family style invert, which is perfectly fine with me. I don't like roller coasters. I'm sure some coaster fans are a little upset about this addition. However, since it is paying homage to the Big Bad Wolf, I think it will be perfectly fine. I'm sure it's going to be such a fun ride for those of you who like roller coasters. And it's just really exciting to see that they are finally putting something back there. I know ground has already been broken. I've seen pictures and videos from BGW fans on Instagram, Twitter, website. I will also link them down below if you want to see those pictures. I'm very excited to see how this is going to turn out. Hopefully it goes well. Busch Gardens last edition, Dark Coaster, has a lot of technical problems, but since this is a B&M coaster, B&M is pretty reliable from what I know, so I think it'll be a wonderful addition. Especially a good park always needs a good B&M, you know? Last but not least, Busch Gardens Tampa is adding a expansion, I guess, to their Jungala area of their park. It's a kiddie area of their park. They're reimagining the drop tower there, and then they're also adding like a kids climbing area as well as a little splash pad. I think it's a good addition to the park. And that is all I have for you guys this week. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, the whole spiel. I will be posting videos every Tuesday night, so I will see you guys next week. Bye.